Much the other.
It's earlier.
One's resolved.
Yeah, 30 cents.
Good to see you. You can start without me right here. We got 2 minutes.
How'd the meeting go? How'd the meeting go?
Thinking about it.
Good.
Yeah.
My computer's exactly right. We got them. That's still on. Second. It's second stuff there. No, it's everywhere. Sorry, you get it. Maybe third. The other thing, 42% chance of shit. It's funny because it's so dry. Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm very okay.
With that. 2 kids got the shop. I don't remember.
Okay.
But I didn't spend any time.
Flash drive or the
We had 3 dogs.
This is a picture of the-
I don't need.
Excuse me.
They got past me. Further. Allowed. Point. Well, then it'd be considerably head further up ahead.
Yeah.
But then the other dog on, then they're gonna go by the river. Well,
I think, yeah.
well, now we're.
To get it. They're like bees.
Okay.
No.
Well, it's October 21st City Council meeting to order. Call the roll.
Abby Hansen,
Here.
John Hawkins,
Here.
Megan McFarland,
Here.
Matt McKinney,
Here.
Logan Welch.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, with evening pattern. You should approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item 1, petitions, communications and requests. This is the time of the meeting the citizen may address the council on a matter not on the agenda. Except in cases of emergency, the city council will not take any action at this meeting, but may ask the city staff to research the matter and have the matter placed on the agenda for a future meeting. Anyone have anything for us? We have item 2 is minutes, claims, reports, licenses and requests. The following items have been deemed to be non-controversial routine actions to be approved by the council in a single motion. If a council member or member of the audience wishes to have an item removed from this list, we consider it in its normal sequence on the agenda. I have A as minutes of October 7, the regular council meeting. B is claims, including payroll ending October 5 and the fund list. C is reports for wastewater, electric, water for September. D is the police department activity report for September. E is the fire department report for September. And that is it.
Move to approve collectively.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
3, general agenda.
I think we're okay.
We're okay. A is a public hearing on plans, specifications, proposed formal contract and estimate of costs for furnishing the minor materials for phase 1 electric distribution improvements. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
I received no written objections,
Are there any oral objections?
no oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Adam.
Good evening, council members. So on October 8th, we opened bids for the minor materials for our phase 1 electric distribution project going on. Do you want me to go ahead with all the prices from each vendor, or you want just the total?
Just the total.
So the total for all the materials for the 7 bids was $110,351.39. And this is all part of, burying, electric overhead to underground going east of the, line department, Sweezy substation there.
Okay. Anyone have any questions you
I
want to?
think it was pretty well clear, spelled out in the
Yeah.
packet.
So I'll call for a resolution finally approving plan specifications, proposed formal contract and estimate of costs, and authorising city manager to execute and award contracts for finishing minor materials for phase one electric distribution improvements.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
B is a public hearing on opposition of the disposal of interest in real property owned by a municipal gas utility under an agreement for the use of the city utility distribution facilities and the transportation of natural gas. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
No written objections?
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections?
Close the hearing. Hey, John, did you?
Yes, just wanted to mention, and Aaron Hilgis is here from Ehlers and Cooney to give an overview of the ordinance.
We're on the agreement though
So
now.
we're on the agreement.
The agreement.
Yeah. Okay.
The ordinance will be next.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob and Pat.
I'm just going to give a brief overview of the use agreement, lease agreement, some of the changes. It's largely based on a prior lease agreement that the parties had been in. It was a 20-year lease set to expire March 2025. And largely the terms are similar, have just been updated some. The use agreement, it's 25-year agreement, is what has been negotiated with and agreed to with Black Hills Energy. And it's there's an increase in the amount of the transportation fee that would be in the amount of $242,439.65 in year one, and then there's an annual escalator of increasing that by 2 3/3600% per year. And that was taking into account the average percentage increase for CPI over the term of the prior lease.
While Aaron is flipping to his next point, I just want to give a background to the public on what this particular issue is that the council is taking up. We did discuss setting the public hearing last meeting, but I just want to emphasize, because the voters will be asked about this on their November ballot, and it has been part of the community's something the community's leased for the past 25 years. So the council has negotiated this lease. The existing one is expiring. We've asked the voters to approve that. We've negotiated these terms with Black Hills. So we're requesting that the voters consider that on the ballot in their election. And Aaron's got some other changes or brief changes to discuss.
Well, one of the big points there is the lease agreement. They would only be valid upon a few different things happening. One would be that at the election that the voters approve it. It would also be contingent on the franchise ordinance that being approved on that. And then the agreement's running concurrently because it's something that they both operate effectively together in terms of things.
And just to clarify again for the public, we are this portion of the natural gas system is leased and has been improved by Black Hills over 25 years because several decades before, in the early 20th century, I believe, the city fathers installed at that time municipal natural gas service. Over subsequent years, as private gas companies got larger, they leased that system to them because they felt it was a better way to operate the system than operating it by a municipality. We are simply continuing to lease that system as has been done for several decades by the city.
And I think one important thing is if the agreement isn't, I guess the negotiated agreement isn't agreed to, or if the voters were to vote down the ballot measure on this, that the city would not continue to receive the use payments and would need to look into the potential reacquisition of the system on that. And so that's really in a nutshell what the change was to the use agreement. There were not a lot of, I guess, drastic changes that were necessary, at least in our opinion. The prior agreement seemed to work pretty well, and so this new agreement was based essentially on that, with a few tweaks here and there, which I just summarized.
I'll call for a resolution finally approving the disposal of interest in real property owned by the municipal gas utility under agreement for the use of the city utility distribution facility and the transportation of natural gas.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
And then we have C as a public hearing on proposed renewal of the gas franchise ordinance with Black Hills Energy. Consider approval of a first reading of proposed ordinance amending the code of ordinances of the city granting renewal of the gas franchise ordinance with Black Hills Energy. I'll open the hearing. Are there any written objections?
I received no written objections.
Are there any oral objections?
No oral objections.
I'll close the hearing. Back to you again, John.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vilgus will provide an overview of the ordinance.
Yeah, I'll go through, I'm not going to read through everything here. It's quite lengthy, but a lot of the similar changes were made, as I had mentioned, with the lease agreement, because there are two documents that really work together on that in order to make sure that all the boxes are checked, and in terms of statutory compliance. It's the lease, or the franchise ordinance. It's also for a 25-year term. And it included numerous provisions that were very similar, some of which were identical to prior terms in the franchise ordinance. One provision that was specifically included in here, and just want to make clear, it's not imposing a franchise fee, but it's reserving the ability for the council during the term of the the lease agreement franchise ordinance, that during that term, if the council determines that it's necessary to go forward and seek a franchise fee, that it's something that would happen pursuant to the processes that would need to be utilized anyway if you all decided at some point later on that you wanted to do that. But there's the public hearing requirement, and there would need to be the affirmative vote on that provision. This was included in there as just a matter of transparency about the possibility that it could happen in the future, especially when there's a 25-year agreement. The other provision that it really mirrors the use agreement is the conditions on if and when this would take effect, and it would be, again, the passage by the council of the ordinance after the readings and considerations that it has. That it would need to be for the same duration as the successor use agreement, which by the terms negotiated, they're both 25 years. Then Black Hills Energy would need to sign off and agree to the franchise ordinance if and when it's approved. And then there would need to be a valid successor use lease agreement, not only by an affirmative vote here that you guys took, but contingent on the results of the at the general election on the question of whether to grant the city authority to enter into a long-term lease with a Black Hills Energy. And that is a summary of the highlights for the franchise ordinance. So I don't know if there are any questions that anyone has.
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So the first reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Webster City, Iowa, 2019 by replacing Chapter 24, Article 3 pertaining to natural gas franchise, granting to Black Hills Iowa Gas Utility Company, LLC, doing business as Black Hills Energy, a Delaware limited liability corporation, its lessees and successors and distribution, and assigns a non-exclusive authority for the period of 25 years to erect, maintain, operate a gas distribution center system and any and all necessary mains, pipes, services, and other apertures thereunto pertaining to in, upon, over, across, and along streets, alleys, bridges, places, public places of the city, and for the transmission, transportation, distribution, and sale of natural gas or mixed gas for heating, industrial and all other uses, and the purposes in the city for the purpose of transmitting, transporting, conveying such gas into, through, or beyond the immediate city limits to other cities or to the city or other cities, towns, and customers, and prescribing the terms and conditions under which the company is to operate. I'm going to do 25 years worth.
I didn't catch the middle part.
I didn't either.
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye. Now there's an option here to I don't know, is it necessary to waive the second and third reading, or?
I will weigh Mr. Hilda's recommendation
That-
as you
That's
requesting
the
that.
matter that's up to the council
I would
to consider.
think that we could do it on the next meeting. We're still prior to the election. so
Yeah, we'd have the day before the election be at our next meeting. And we usually don't waive the second and third in the same meeting.
Wait for third.
Yeah, I would probably prefer to wait until November 2nd or 3rd, whatever it was. Or
And is there a reason?
unless it
Did you have
It
any
helps.
reason why it needed to be done beforehand, did you? Yeah, because it's much better if we don't.
Yeah.
It's not, it's an unusual thing for us to waive. Very soon. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So D is a resolution approving the purchase of a 2025 Vermeer XB 50 series vacuum excavator for the city of Webster City Line Department. Good evening again, Adam.
I just wanted to say something. The resolution that was in your packet had the amount of 74,842 as the price, and it should be 74,872. We've corrected it, but
Okay.
I wanted to point that out.
Great hits.
Yep, that's it. We might as well remove it.
No, please. Don't. So, as you can see from the packet that we did receive, 3 bids back. The Vermeer VX 50 series is exactly like the current unit that we have. This time we did order it with the hot box on it. That I don't remember the last one we bought. We did not, just try and save some pennies, but we ended up purchasing at a later date. But this one will have all the bells and whistles that we spec'd out. The other price was $86,727.98, and then hydrovac pneumatic was $144,880.58. And for some reason, there was no trade-in value for ours, so recommending that we go with the the Vermeer, the purchase price of $74,872. I might add too that they were giving us $50,000 trade-in for the current unit. I do realize it is only 5 years old, but it's another one of them pieces of equipment that is very essential with the underground boring. We've got to use that to excavate all the utilities before we can bore, so.
Yeah. Okay. Call for the motion.
Move to approve.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
E is a resolution accepting and approving the minor subdivision plat of Lockwood Estates Edition, Huntly County, Iowa. Evening, Aaron.
So this plat of a minor subdivision for Lockwood Estates Edition was submitted back in August. It has been reviewed by staff, utility companies, and it was also taken to the Maine and Zoning Commission, their recommendation to approve it. The property is located on Lockwood Avenue, which is within the city's 2 mile, and it's zoned agricultural, which is appropriate zoning for this parcel. The property owner, Daleen Schlitter, is looking to subdivide the land that hosts the single family dwelling and the outbuildings from the remaining land to sell the homestead. There are no financial implications to the city. It just has to come before you guys for approval prior to it being recorded at the courts.
Call for the motion.
To approve.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Item F is a resolution authorising the street department supervisor to sign and execute partial payment application number 3 and final recommended project acceptance for the 2025 HMA improvements project with retainage to be paid within 30 days to Heartland Asphalt.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is for the 25 HMA project or the partial payment, number 3, and the final recommended project acceptance. This project consists of the 5 base bid locations with 4 bid alternatives. They're all completed in a really quick fashion. If you look back at it, it was taken to council on June 17th, and I believe we were done I think the middle of August. So by the time John and I discussed this and taken it to Schneider and brought it to council, got the curb and gutter spot repair done, and the HMA finally completed it. It was really came together really quick and completed. I'm really happy with it. I've had a lot of positive feedback from the community on some of these locations throughout town. I think as moving forward and trying to improve our PCI index rating for our streets, I think this is a good tool to put in the toolbox to use moving forward, as well as other pavement options we can use. So the Final payment is the amount of $5,754.15. Then we'll release the $42,213.75 in retainage for 30 days. So.
Okay. Call for the motion.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Brandon. Item G is a resolution approving the conveyance of an easement at 345 Fairmeadow Drive, Webster City to City of Webster City, Iowa, and authorising the city manager to execute the easement agreement. Pretty well, it says.
Who's these on?
I can probably speak on this. Derek Drew worked on this. This was for the sidewalk on the east side of Superior Street on Fairmeadow that was brought to council, and for the project being extended to reach the sidewalk going to the hospital. And so the easements were required for this. So that's what that pertains to.
Second.
All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Item 4 is in closed session to discuss the purchase or sale of particular real estate only where premature disclosure would be reasonably expected to increase the price the governmental body would have to pay for that property, reduce the price the governmental body would have to receive for that property as provided by Chapter 21.5J Code of Iowa.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.